Hey guys, Brock here. So a lot of you, and probably number one request, have been asking, how did you wire your winch? And I've been waiting to shoot this video to unwind it and redo it all for you because I knew I was going to be installing a bumper and that day is here. So I have removed my rear bumper and the Rago still full width is going in. But while I'm here, the thing that I get to do is now run my wire. So I have negative and positive 1 gauge wire. And what we're gonna go ahead and do is it all starts with these. So this guy right here, this is where we're gonna feed our positive. And this person, we're gonna cut him and do our negative. So we are gonna actually cut the circle out in this so that the positive can go through and we'll push it through. Then we are gonna actually cut a slit right here and pass the negative through. And then we're gonna put some silicone sealant to keep it nice and secure. This is your vent that feeds back to your battery. So your battery is sitting right about here. Excuse me, right about here. So this is your vent. It does go directly into the cab. So I do not want to pass wires through this, and because I do off-road and I don't want stuff to get all up in there. So I am opting pull this and cut this part out and then pass the red wire through, silicone seal it. And then I am going to make a slit here, pass the negative wire through and silicone seal it. And that is how I'm gonna make the connection to the battery. From there, I'm gonna take the positive and negative and run the wire here. Excuse me, let me move this around. So positive, negative, I'm gonna do both, run them here, pass it here, and then on this side, it actually will go to the frame, and then I can run it from there. So that is the course of action. I am going to go ahead and get my positive and negative fed through, and then I will show you guys on the other side that yes, the wires really pass through, no problem. So no drilling, none of that fun jazz. So should be fun, but again, you guys have asked for this a lot, so here we go. All right guys, so got the battery lugs on. Now we're going to execute. So negative, hopefully this works decently. Yeah, okay. Might have to make some adjustments there in a minute. I'm gonna go on the inside here in a few and kind of pull that. And then, so for the negative one, I just cut a plus, like you see there. That's just easier. So let's see. Yep, okay. So that passed through the inside. Okay, awesome. So let's get this back. Yep. Okay. It's important that we want to keep these in place, guys, because we're going to drop some silicone in there. So we got both sides. So let's swing around to the other side. Take a look at the battery tray, what's going on here. And of course, can't see crap, right? Haha. All right, so I'm gonna have to fish my hand. It's somewhere under the battery tray here, so I'm gonna have to fish my hand under and get it, but there you guys go. So you will actually pull through. Here's your negative, there's your positive, and then the rest of it is really going to be running this cleanly from the frame all the way to the engine. And once we get to the engine bay, I got some, I think 800 amp bus blocks that we are going to connect this to, and then the bus block will have the battery lug on it for positive and negative. Then we'll take our winch line wire and run it directly to that bus block, and then in addition to that, what we're going to do is actually connect our Switch Pro directly to that. So right now our Switch Pro, and I did a video on this, but the Switch Pro is connected to basically the jump point over on that side. We're gonna get rid of that, and the Switch Pro sits on this side. The battery lug bus blocks will be on this side. So we are going to bring our positive and negatives all the way up cleanly and up, secure them to the inside to a bus block, and then from there be able to directly connect our winch and directly connect our light controller Switch Pro 9100. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go ahead and get this fed through and fish it out underneath that battery. But that is how you make a direct connection. And again, what we're gonna do is take these and do one of those jobbers. We'll end up probably zip tying it here and here, and then just run that wire through there and then chase it along the frame all the way to the front. So in the meantime, I'm gonna find these dang wires. Do not forget, once you get the wires in your length, one, do not connect them now, because you don't want to have little live wires all the way through when you're running it through the frame. But once you get this connected, don't forget to circle back. Once you have it bolted to the battery and it's not really going to flex anymore, and you have it secured here with the zip tie, make sure that you drop silicone sealant on these so that no moisture gets in. See, that right there goes directly into the cab. So a little bit of silicone sealant once you're bolted in, and we're good to go. All right, guys, so we got our wires passed through. And in case you're wondering what this is, I'm not a fan of silicone sealant. I just don't like it. I am a fan of this stuff. And this is Lexel. You can find it at Home Depot. You can find it at Lowe's. It is elastic to an extent, so it's going to help to keep that into place. But it is an actual construction adhesive. It does come crystal clear, so this doesn't cloud up and get all nasty and dirty like the silicone does. It stays pretty much like that, but as you can see, we were liberal with our application to make sure that no water gets in. The grommets were resecured, so we don't need to worry about it cutting and shorting, but that's kind of the lineup. You see my little bumper install. But anyways, so this stuff, great, get it. So we're gonna take this, feed it under there, and then run it to the front. All right, guys, so the next thing we need to figure out is where we're gonna put our distribution. And my Switch Pro over there actually is connected, and I did a previous video to this over here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to keep my positive over here. So that means I'm going to have to run the positive wire through, which is fine. So I'll keep the positive here. And then that'll allow me to direct connect the winch. So this is a 750 amp bus bar block, and it's got an A&L 750 amp fuse as well. So we're going to connect obviously positive here. And then we're going to connect the Switch Pro and the winch to this. And that's the only thing that we're connecting. I just need a 12 volt power source a little closer, really for winching purposes. My light setup was fine. So in keeping kind of with the theme, the negative and the Switch Pro will be over there. The positive will be here. I'll just take this wire to the Switch Pro, take it out of the jump spot, and move it over here, and then the Switch Pro will be nice and wired. We'll take our winch line, run it up over here, and then that'll be nice and secure, and we'll be good to go. As I said, the negative is already actually over here. I have a Blue Sea system in with the Switch Pro, so right now it's going to the chassis grounds. I'm gonna actually go ahead and just take that, I'm gonna leave the chassis ground in place, but I'm also going to run the negative directly, probably to this one actually. So I have a chassis ground here, this negative. It doesn't hurt anything, it's overkill for sure, but it is what it is. So, and then what I'll be able to do is take my negative from the winch and actually direct connect to the same post that's coming from the battery directly. The rest of this will continue to feed all the lighting systems in the Switch Pro. So that's our plan of attack. That's really simple. I just need to drop some screws and it's nice and secure. So what we really need to do now is run these guys. And we're gonna go ahead and start to do that now. I do have some flex tubing, so I will be in high traffic areas that we're in like right now. Anytime that it's going to be around suspension or exhaust, I'm going to drop some split loom 1/2 inch on each line. So, all right, I will talk to you guys from underneath the car because that's our next step. All right, guys, so we have obviously put our block on and relocated from the jump point, which is another video that I did, to this. So I will say my Switch Pro was reading some pretty low voltage from the jump point. And in addition to that, I am not a fan of having high amp draws near the fuse box feed. I don't know. Maybe I'm just paranoid. Maybe I'm old school. I just don't like it. So that's why we're doing the direct connect. But so this picks up and basically follows that over to the Switch Pro. Now we need to run our positive and then we need to run our winch. So I am choosing to actually direct connect my winch. I'm going to go probably on this side for a direct connect. So I'm going to put the battery here and I'm going to put the winch on this lug. The fuse will remain intact. And I realize those of you at home are like probably going, well, what's the point of the fuse? It's a great question. Don't know. The Switch Pro, I suppose. So in any event, that's the plan. I just got to run that wire now. So Switch Pro's hooked up, run the wire and then hook up the winch. Okay guys, so there we have our line that goes in, and what we're going to do is right off the bat we're going to grab some 1/2 inch wire loom right there. I've got about 14 feet of it. I got 3.5 feet that I am going to use right now, so I'm going to put it on basically from there, go to the other side of the frame, so near the exhaust, hence the wire loom, and run that basically on the back side of the frame, behind the suspension, and then down through there. So I am going to cover that with you guys right now. First, what we're going to do is put our 3.5 feet of wire loom on, and we're going to actually take it to pretty much right about here. There's a little section on that drops down, so we're going to cover that from any sort of abrasions and then run the rest through. All right guys, so we're all loomed up and we're going to get under the vehicle now and run it. Now, I will say something that I highly recommend. We're going to be using a lot of these. So these are 11 inch and these are the extreme weather. I live in Las Vegas, so it does get very hot, but more importantly, we get the asphalt effect, meaning to say that, you know, it's 110 outside, but the asphalt being black, it's like 160. So zip ties really don't last out here. These do. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to run this whole thing without you guys, and then I'm going to pick up the video and just kind of show you where I ran, what I zip tied into. We'll be using 2 zip ties if we can. We'll be using 2 zip ties per kind of anchor location, if you will. But we're nice and protected here. We're gonna run that under the frame and to the back side. But this is all loomed up to protect against obviously any rocks, suspension, there's the exhaust, there's all sorts of stuff, and this is a direct tie to your battery, so you really don't want to short that. But all right, well, that's the goal, way up there, and this is the starting point, so let's make our way to the finish line. All right guys, so we have the wire ran up. I got it zip tied to the hanger there behind the reservoir, and then out. I want to show you guys a little something if you don't know already. These have like these type of screw things. So as you can see, I undid this one and this one. I'm going to pull this back just a little like this, right? I'm going to take these wires and I'm going to run them so that they go here and it'll drop down, and I'm going to re-screw it in. And what that's going to do is make sure that this never droops, because right now I can pull it, you know, no problem. Food dust. So do yourself a favor, undo these 2. When you run it up on this side of the liner over here, and then just split the difference between the 2 and then re-screw those on. You'll be nice and secure. And then, like I said, as you can see, we ran behind the shock reservoir. and are going. So that's your line. So exhaust hanger, double, and then I zip tied it there, and then I went behind. All right, guys, well, we are ready to start cutting mousy tails, aka zip tie lines. So we are going to run you through where I went. So right here, and then we're gonna go under the vehicle. Look at these extreme ones. There we go. Okay, so let's run under the vehicle. As you guys know, the line is in there, came down. And now I'm at the rear. There's the exhaust. So this may be a little disorienting. I apologize, but this is the only way I know to show you guys exactly which way I ran. So we attached 2 zip ties actually to this. So we're gonna clip those. Okay. And then from there, we took this wire and we went up right there. And where we went up was right there. And we undid those 2 screws and passed this wire, and you can see it right there behind the reservoir. But we put the wires between those 2 screws for safe holding, and then screwed them back in, right? And then we had the reservoir, and I did not split loom this because it is above the frame, very well protected, and the shielding on the lines is extremely thick. I'll show you guys that here in a second because I'm gonna come up. So we went there, and then as you can see, we're on this. So now I'm gonna get under the vehicle again with you guys and kind of walk the line. So here's under. Now I'm gonna get under. And for orientation purposes, so you guys are aware, that's the outside of the vehicle. So we went ahead and ran it here at the body mount. As you can see, I positioned it so that it's not on the body mount to potentially get, you know, pinched as that thing wears out over time. We're gonna cut this guy too. There we go. All right, and then I ran him along. Now you've got these guys right here, and there's another one over there, and they're really convenient. So I passed a zip tie at the upper part of this one and kept this wire up. Now, if you notice, one thing I need to point out, and then this is what you guys need to keep in mind because you may run a different line. As soon as... Where is it? Yep, here. As soon as I cleared the exhaust right there, you'll be able to see that I actually crossed over from the outside of the frame here. I crossed over to the inside of the frame and went down that way. I have skids that are going to be going here, so just even more protection. That's why I didn't bother to loom these, because again, the thickness on these is really, really, really thick. It's meant for heavy duty extreme. So I then went ahead and zip tied to this grounding point, which is right by the transfer case right there. And yes, I do have a skid for that. And yes, it exits actually right here. This thing. All right, so we double zip tied. I double zip tied everything for the most part, guys. That's just who I am. All right, then we came over here, and there's a line right there that I went ahead and clamped onto just for support. It's a metal line. Again, we have skids going right here, so all of this is going to be very, very, very well protected. I'm not too worried. Sorry, trying to cut these extreme ones, and they live up to their name. And then you'll see here where I came back and basically followed the frame up to the engine and then up, and I'll cover that. And I'm just going to clip this guy real quick for you. Right? All right. So let's get topside now. So you guys can see here where the line went, and then we clipped on there. This is still the negative. I just needed to put the battery lug on. Sorry, there you go. So just needed to put the battery lug on, but in there, and I haven't shrink wrapped them yet, but so you guys have an idea of how thick, that's how thick the wire in and of itself is. I didn't play games, so it's not, definitely not non-insulated. All right, so from there we come up, and as you can see, hold on, there it is, right down there. So where my finger, that cylindrical, that's actually your steering column. So you can see the wire came up here, and we passed it behind the brake reservoir. From this point, that's the line there. You can see I loomed them again for heat protection. And then also, honestly, bright red cable. There's enough ugliness with this orange going on. I didn't feel more colors were needed. So, but this follows this line. So that's where we came up over there. And, ooh, nice and shiny. Follows, loops around. And then, bam, right there. Here's our connection, positive connection. And here is our connection feeding back to the Switch Pro. The negative you guys already saw, and that's simple. It's gonna come up this same line, basically right here, and then just directly connect right onto this blue C bus bar. And that's gonna be our negative for everything, which is fine because we can run our negative from our winch this way, since it's centered, our positive that way, and we're fine. For Switch Pro purposes, because I'm running the negative to this, I'll still have my positive here to hook up all my lights and my negatives there. So I'm not gonna have to run like a positive there and a negative here for every single little light. That would just be silly. So we're not doing that. But that is how you run a high amp draw power line. Again, that was 1 gauge wire. I'll put links, but that is how you run a 1 gauge wire from the back to the front safely. And now we have a direct connect to the 12-volt battery instead of going off of the jump point. So I know a lot of people do go off the jump point. I'm just not a fan of it. That whole thing's a fuse box. That's a hybrid system. I don't know. Maybe I'm just old or paranoid, but that's how you do it. And then from there, like I said, you wire up your winch. You're going to need to follow your instructions, but that would be your positive. That would be your negative. You don't have to go here. If you decide you want to just do a positive and a negative, maybe you're not running a Switch Pro, you can put both sides over there. It's fine. I mean, it's totally your choice. This is the way I did it. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So save yourself some heartache in the comments. I really don't want to hear it unless you see something that I just glaringly missed. So, all right, guys, that's how you do it. All right, guys, so we are at the wrap up. Here are the wires that we did not connect. Again, they come from under the tray. So negative, I'm going to connect right here with my power distribution that's currently set up. Positive, I'm going to connect back here. So, but that's it. So once we get this connected, we'll be live. We'll do a test with the lights to make sure. And then I know a lot of you want to know, yeah, but what about a winch? I'll do a winch install because I got to hook up my Smitty built anyways, but it'll be a separate video. Right now, we're just focusing on getting 12-volt power source to the front of the vehicle. So that's our focus. That's what we're going to stick with. But I'm going to hook this up. I'll grab you guys once I do that, and then we will test out the lights and make sure that we got juice. So there we are. We're all wired up. There it is, going to that big 750 amp at the front. Here's the ground. So moment of truth. We're going to see if our Switch Pro lights right up as it should. I do have mine properly connected to the ACC, so we got to turn it on. But let's go ahead and turn this guy on and then fire up the upper light bar, hopefully. All right, moment of truth. Woo! Super lights. Nice. Yep. Very, very, very nice. So there you go, guys. That's how you get 12 volts up to your engine bay. Fun times.